So this is going to be really fun in terms of videos because I've got a few different options in terms of Air Jordan 1s, and just wanted to see what the differences were between each sneaker. It's a bit of an odd one really, and I think with this particular pair being the true to OG, I guess what they're calling it, and it's called, the Royal 85 version 2 remastered, and this one was released obviously in 2025, and it's got a lot of differences in terms of the way it sort of feels and looks. And the main thing really is the sleeker toe box that you can sort of see here. It kind of slopes down a lot nicer, it looks a lot more sleeker and a lot more cooler. And then they've also sort of rearranged the midsole where you've got this different sort of pattern on there, which is more accurate to the OG. And then also the way the midsole is kind of got that curvature going on, so it's one of those ones where it's again more similar to the OG. And then also the way this outsole sort of tapers upwards at the back, so when it's sitting flat, you'll see like there's a bit of lift off there at the back of the heel, which is another good thing, I think, in my opinion. I think it makes it look nicer. And also, from what I understand, the tongue, this one's got this sort of almost sort of nylon material, but it's also got a different sort of backing than what you normally see on other Jordan 1s. And then also with the insole as well being of slightly better quality, and it's also got I think it's the Chinese writing that's in there as well, just to kind of signify the quality. And it's a good way to tell whether you've got like a fake pair or a real pair. And then also what I know is at the back you can see the Air Jordan logo. It's kind of embossed in there, slightly different to what you'd normally see on other pairs of Jordans, and that seems to be again sort of closer to the OG. And then also you can sort of see the midsole, it's got that sort of curvature going on, so it kind of goes outwards on both sides, and that's different to other pairs. So like I said, I have a bunch of pairs here that I've have in my collection, I guess, and one of the ones which I'll sort of highlight is the metallics. And what I'll say is I've started to wore these I think once or twice, and it's one of those ones where the leather on this I feel like is softer than what you'd get on the Royals, in my opinion. And like I said, I've only worn them once or twice, but you can see it's already started to crease, and I just want to sort of show that particular aspect of it, of how they sort of wear in. And you'll find, I think, with a lot of the 85 cuts, they do tend to do that, like a standard Jordan 1 low as well. Then I've got kind of other pairs that I probably haven't worn, for example, and I think a good comparison is probably looking at like the 85, and this is the 85 high, like the Panda version, the black and white. And what you can see is like the shape of the toe box area is a lot more pronounced on this one. You can see the curvature goes a lot more deeper in, and then also the front as well, where it's got that sort of sleeker toe box, and you can kind of see that when you put them side by side as well. So you can probably see here that toe box is sleeker. It's not like that much difference, but it's still better. Like I think it looks nicer, and it goes slightly more higher and inwards, and like I said, sort of tapers off quite nicely. And in terms of other differences, in terms of like the way the shape is, it's not much difference. The synthetic leather swoosh that they have here is different than what you'd have on this OG 85 cut, the version 1. And then also the way the logo is embossed as well is slightly different, in my opinion. And yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the same. And I think the tongue being this slightly different material for what you have on the 85s. But apart from that, they're pretty much the same. I feel like they're pretty much the same in terms of how they are, and it's not going to make much difference once you put them on feet. And also, I suppose the midsole as well has got slightly more sort of protruding on the Royals here. You can kind of see that there. So that's a similar sort of thing. And I think with the neutral greys, I've got a pair of these 85s neutral greys, picked them up really cheap, and this is a similar story. So this one's got, again, similar to the 85 black and white. It's not, I suppose, it's a bit more sleeker than the black and white. Maybe it's just the colour that's making a difference, but you can sort of see here, the Royals taper off quite nicely. They've got a really nice sort of shape to them. And same with the materials, they're slightly different. The swoosh is different. But in terms of sort of the holes and the cuts, they all kind of look very similar. So for me, it's like, again, there's not too much difference. There's probably more padding on this one, on the 85 neutral greys, version 1s, versus the version 2s. You can probably see that here, and that's why I think a lot of people say go true to size on these Royals, but I still feel like half size up is the best bet. But with these as well, like the original version 1s, I went up half size. And just to add to even more of a confusion, we have here the Travis Scott version, and these I believe are based on the 2015 cut of the Jordan 1 Low, which has 8 lace loopholes, and that's similar to what you see on the 85 cut as well. So you can see that here, and this is kind of that sort of slightly in between, where it's not quite an OG cut, but the way the toe box is, you can see it's dramatically different. And for me, I still prefer this one. I like that kind of shape. Still, you know, the sleeker toe box, and that's like the main aspect where I can sort of feel like, you know, where people are going to say it's a difference. You know, you're not going to notice that when you're walking around. Other people aren't going to notice it, but it just depends on how much of a fuss pot you are with those kind of things, and whether you want, you know, to basically have a sneaker that's as true to the original as possible. And that's probably, you know, the reason to get these. But other than that, you know, there isn't much else different apart from, you know, things like the Jordan logo. This one's obviously embroidered, and this one's got the OG kind of touch to it. And the same for the midsole. Again, you know, this one's protruding and then, you know, going outwards, and then this one's just like a flat one. So, you know, apart from that, there isn't too much difference in my opinion. Again, it's pretty much the same sort of sneaker. And then I also have a pair of Mocha 1 Lows, and that's a similar story really. This is kind of the, I guess, the new age Jordan 1 Low cuts. And again, this one you can sort of see it's really boxy at the front, and these, again, you can sort of see that it sort of tapers off quite sort of nicely on the Royals. You know, if I was to sort of say, if I could replace all of my pairs, then I'd probably say, you know, I'd replace them with these ones instead. And I think because of that toe box, really, I just really like the way that shape is. It's just really nice. But other than that, in terms of comfort, I'm going to give it to the Travis Scott one. Actually, I think this feels the most comfortable on foot and the most sort of easy to wear. And this one is actually true to size, and I don't know whether it's a difference in material quality or the shape or the way it's been built, which is similar to the 2015 cut. But I'm happy going true to size on these, and they work well. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But, and then, you know, these are obviously a standard Jordan 1 Low. It's still more comfortable than an 85 cut because they don't take as long to break in, and they're quite an easy wear as well. But in terms of the overall sort of comfort in terms of the bottom, this was probably the best one because of the fact that the air unit in there has got a bit of a squishy feel to it, which I really like. And it's the same for any of the 85 cuts. Even with these, you'll feel a little bit of bounciness going on. It's not much, it's a little bit subtle, but when they talk about, you know, having an air unit in there, this is, you know, what you can feel, and it's kind of how it was back in the 80s as well. But with these newer ones, you're not going to feel any air unit in there. They just don't, you know, even though they say that we've got an air unit in there, you won't really feel it, in all honesty. But yeah, overall, like, hopefully that sort of helps. I think, you know, like I said, it's one of those things where the differences are too sort of subtle. I think people have been making too much of a big deal of it, in all honesty. But yeah, not to say that you shouldn't grab these pairs, you should, because they are very cool. And you know, especially with this raw colorway, it's quite a difficult one to find now. But do you need to pay out £400 for a bread or a band? I'd say it's only for those people who are really, you know, into sort of their Jordans, where they should go out and buy that. But for, you know, anyone else, it's not really worth spending £400 on a sleeker toe box, in my opinion. But, you know, that's what I have to say about it. But in all honesty, if I can, you know, grab a pair of bands for used, I'll probably try and grab them for used and for cheap. Or if they start to fall in price a little bit, then maybe I'll look to grab them then. But I'm not paying the money that they're valued at now, and maybe they're going to keep going up, I don't know. But then, like I said, I'd probably just wait for the low version of the breads to come out eventually, which they probably will, named Jordan brand.